Classes are everywhere in Python. Even if you never define your own type of class, you will certainly use classes in Python. So I've got a class that I'm importing here, point. I'm calling that class. When you call a class, you get back an instance of that class. And I'm accessing the X attribute on that class, and I'm calling the isOrigin method. When you ask the type of this P thing, this point instance, it tells you I'm an object of type class point. The type of something is the same as the class of that thing. So class instances or objects of some class type, they can have attributes and they can have methods. We've seen attributes and methods in other places in Python. So for example, lists have an append method. You call it to append something to the list. Well, it turns out that lists, if you ask them for their type, you're going to see some kind of class. You always get a class when you ask for the type of something in Python. The type of a list is the list class. So list is not a function in Python, it's a class. If you call list with parentheses after it, you'll get an empty list back. So list is a class, tuple is a class, dict is a class, set is a class. All the built-in data structures in Python are classes. Interestingly though, some of the even more fundamental types of objects are actually classes. Anything that has a type has a class. So if I've got a string, I ask for its type, it tells me str, class str. So str, I may have thought of this as a function. I call the str function, I convert something to a string. It's actually a class. Same with int. Int is a class, and in fact we can say int.real. We're accessing the real attribute to get the real component of this number, which is the same as the number itself. Integers are a class though, which means if I call the int function, I'm actually calling a class to get back an integer instance. And you'll actually see this with a lot of the built-in functions in Python. So for example, the enumerate function, when we call it, we get back an enumerate object. Now that enumerate object, its type is the enumerate class. We were actually calling a class. I said the enumerate function, I called it a function. It's in fact implemented as a class. And this distinction between classes and functions, it doesn't really matter that much in Python. From the perspective of me, the person calling this class or function, I could call it a callable object. I'm calling this callable object using parentheses. It could be implemented as a function. I'll get the return value of it. It could be implemented as a class. I'll get an instance of that class as long as I get the type of thing I'm looking for, something that behaves the way I'm expecting it to. So classes are everywhere in Python. Even if you never make your own class, you will certainly use classes.